Total in my life, I've been in rehab for 8 years. And I got out and I stopped doing heroin, which is a bad drug to do. Yeah, you can't do that. It takes your soul away. It also takes your abs away. So, I got out and they suggested a physical trainer for a while. So, I'm working with a trainer and I like people in shape and healthy. But they say stupid things. The sliding glass door before me should be cold if I touch it, but it won't be. Because I can't feel anything anymore. After flooding my body too many times with this army of synthetic soldiers, I know that this isn't a solution. If there was a terrorist that showed up in this county today and shot 50 or 25 or 10 people, for that matter, there'd be an uproar in this community. There'd be an army here trying to stop it. That's exactly where we are with opioids. But who is showing up to stop it? 4773 Logan Street, dear Officer Arnell. We have a 23-year-old male. A 23-year-old male. Shh. He's dead. Overdose. Shh. In the 1980s, the pharmaceutical industry thought that they found a holy grail of relief for pain: opioids. However, by overprescribing medications such as Percocet, Oxycontin, and hydrocodone, doctors have inadvertently triggered a national crisis. In 2017, our national government has declared that it is a state of emergency, but the CDC has still reported that for the second year in a row, American life expectancy has dropped solely due to opioid use. Despite public outcry, opioid deaths and close calls continue to increase. Doctors still overprescribe, and families are being torn apart. If we are to overcome this social epidemic, we must recognize that opioid addiction is not a moral failure, but rather a direct result of irresponsible institutions and society's tendency to turn a blind eye to over 2.5 million Americans suffering in the shadows. With the poetry, I Know You're Kind by William Brewer, The Addict, a Magician by Michael Lee, the drama, Heroin, the transcript of a live interview with recovering opioid addict and comedian Artie Lang, along with selections from the prose The Opioid Diaries, Possible Side Effects. A program for my friend Garrett, who was a victim of a country that consumes 80% of the world's opioids. It's sad when you can drive around your city and say, oh, somebody died there, but that's just the reality of this area, That White House right there, we had 2 deaths in that house in 2015. It's crazy. When you add hopelessness and a lack of education on top of it, it's like a recipe for disaster. 1401 Washington Avenue. Someone has been locked in this bathroom for over an hour. We can't get to them. They've overdosed on something. If you say something stupid, I get aggravated. So the first or so month I'm off heroin, I got this train, real good shape, cut, Brad Pitt looking, cute kid. One day he sees me kind of out of it. He says, what's the matter? I said, I'll be honest with you, kid, it's hard. Heroin. I remember the high of heroin. I don't have any kind of substitute for that. And this kid, I swear to God, he looks at me and he goes, heroin? I go, yeah? He says, well, why don't you try running? My eyes start to twitch. I say, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, a runner's high is just as good as a heroin high. I go, yeah? I go, have you tried heroin? This isn't a solution. Yeah, I know now so much more. I know that last night 5,000 dropped dead in an Arkansas suburb, and it wasn't my fault. I've only ever killed a robin, and I have never been to Arkansas, but this year I won't feel responsible. I can go to the mailbox and find a tally of all the grams I've shot up, equated to the hours of daylight I've got left. I fear that we've lost a couple of generations. Not just one generation. I fear that we have lost more than that. We're a blue-collar state. We have a lot of people that work hard for a living, and now they've got hooked on pills and they've moved on to heroin. Because they just can't get pills anymore. Have you tried heroin? Now I'm gonna argue with the guy. I'm mad. I stop in the middle of my third squat. Whoa. Have you tried heroin? No? Well then, you're not really qualified to be in this argument, then are you? Try heroin. I said that to him. But he didn't hear me, not with all that noise inside of his head. We were so hungry. Tom's hand on the table looked like warm bread. So I crushed it with a hammer, and then I walked him to the ER to score pills. Why did you keep hitting, he asked. I don't know. And I didn't. We were scientists. We experimented each day. I know where you went. Heroin whistling through your veins like a steam engine. I know what it is to walk down an unlit street at midnight, to have a gun cocked in your mouth. I know what it is to discover that that gun is in your own hand. 432 West 18th Street at Sheets. Caller said they have a female actually laying on their counter at their checkout. She is breathing but not responding at all. In 2 days, I'll admit myself in exchange for putting out this white fire on my scalp. A paper cup, a pill, an IV's plastic needle, dry humping an old scab spot. My bones will announce themselves by packing up and moving out. They'll look at me and they'll say the hard part is coming. When I can't take anything for the pain is taking me. I'll wait. I'll see that blizzard coming, and I'll know that no one is going to do a thing about it. 6th Street for an overdose! 6th Street for an overdose! Apartment 3, we have a 32-year-old male, cardiac arrest due to an overdose. 1808, apartment 3, we have a 32-year-old male, cardiac arrest due to an overdose. This is the magic of perception. The difference between the addict and one who is drowning is the one who is drowning knows what is happening to them. The mind of the addict is cunning enough to convince them that they are not drowning because Houdini doesn't have shit on an addict. He was able to convince everyone but himself that he had vanished. But addiction is the ethereal art of forgetting that you are still here. I have spent whole nights lying awake, wondering why I made it. You didn't. And each time I hear your voice asking me, how badly do I want this life? I didn't know then, and I don't know now. He says, no, try running. So, I start running. And one day, I get to my 8th mile. I call the guy. I'm like, hey, it's me. Yeah, I'm on my 8th mile. When exactly does it start to feel like heroin? I always thought it would be funny if he took my advice, and 2 years later, I see him under some bridge like, oh, Artie, when you're right, you're right. Running is nothing like heroin. Can I borrow $20? And, I know what I would say. I'd say, no. I gotta run. I was born into this. I've been getting high since I was 10 years old. I didn't get sober for my kids. I didn't get sober for my wife. The pain and the misery got so bad. That's not a way to live. I owe you an apology. In February, I climbed a mountain in Vermont. I brought you with me. In the urn, I cradled like an infant. When I got to the top, I threw you in fistfuls into the Arctic air and said, I'm sorry. That's the way we lived. But that's not a way to live.